cheap 38 special versus cheap 22 long rifle and handguns. And I have a kind of interesting comparison today with just some cheap ammo that I have lying around. The 38 special is Federal, when the 22 long rifle is Winchester, but I think these will do for what I'm looking to do here. So our 38 special is a standard pressure 158 grain lead semi-wad cutter hollow point. It is in the Train Plus Protect line, so you get them in 50 round boxes pretty inexpensively. You know, Federal used to offer this stuff kind of like the high shock, just white box stuff, real cheap ammunition that they produced for a long time, and they just reboxed it kind of as the Train Plus Protect. I've tested this in the 4-inch and a 2-inch barrel before, but never my 3-inch Taurus 856 that I have here. And the 2-inch barrel is averaging 745 feet per second. A 4-inch did a couple tests, 838 and 829 feet per second. So I'm really curious what we'll get with this. So our 22 long rifle, I'm going to use our Taurus TX22 because a 4.1-inch semi-auto has almost identical overall bullet travel as our 3-inch revolver, and it's about the same size. So our Winchester PowerPoint is what this is. This is our basic Winchester Super X PowerPoint. So even though this is a yellow box and it looks kind of interesting, if you get it in their 100 round packs in the plastic container, or there's a whole bunch of different other variations of it, it's all the same ammo. It's a Winchester 40 grain rated at 1280 feet per second, and they're hollow points. So we're going to see what we get with just your basic bulk cheap ammo between the two of these. And you know, this is not a competition, it's just a little bit of a comparison to kind of see if, you know, if this is typically what people use, how close will 22 long rifle from a handgun with similar cheap ammo be? So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test here, just plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential is of these cartridges. Then after that, I'm going to put 4 layers on the front of this first 3 inches that represents our pectoral muscle, 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard. After that, to represent hitting ribs or sternum. And we'll see how those compare, more of a real world simulation. Then I'm going to shoot up my steel to see what kind of practical shootability I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. All right, so our 38 special 158 grain, it's actually rated at 830 feet per second, and I know Federal uses a 4-inch barrel when rating 38 special. I was averaging 834 feet per second in our 4-inch barrel, but only 745 through our 2-inch barrel. So I'm kind of interested what I'll get in the 3-inch barrel. I guess theoretically it should be about an even 800 feet per second. I don't know if that's how it'll play out, but we'll see if we get closer to 745 in a 2-inch or 834 in a 4-inch through our 3-inch barrel. So 38 special, let's see what we get here. 774, 829, 815, 844, 834. Must have hit one in the same hole. But yeah, we're definitely, I would say, a little bit closer to the 4-inch, and that's what I've seen over the years with stuff like this. But they are shooting a little bit high for me. So let's try our 22 long rifle right at 1280. Yeah, obviously, we're not going to get 1280 because that's through a rifle. But let's see what we actually get with some cheap Super X stuff here. 1008. 972, 1026, 1002, 1029, 1013. All right, so I think that's enough to see that they're very accurate and very consistent. A few rounds are a little bit low there, but you know, a lot of times what you'll see with stuff, cheap ammo like Remington Thunderbolts, is you'll see stuff that's like 800, 700, 500, 1000. This is all over the place. This is actually pretty consistent across the board for its accuracy and its velocity. So that's really good. That could mean a lot, especially if you want to stretch out the range a little bit with hitting something at distance. So let's hit our ballistics gel block and see how these compare. All right, plain clear ballistics. I'll try our 38 special first because with these shooting high, I'm not really sure where they're going to impact on that block. So let's just shoot it with our 38, see where it hits, see what we get. All right, let's see how that 22 long rifle compares. So take a look. All right, so there's a difference there, and it does look like with our 38 we did not get expansion. With our 22 we did get expansion. That's just what it looks like from this angle. So there's a big vast difference there in what we got. Now, even though our 38 it over penetrated technically, I'm gonna say that's not bad what we're getting, because we're right at 21 inches. That's not really over penetration to the level that I would be concerned about. In fact, I would say because clear ballistics is a little less dense than typical gel, you're probably only looking at maybe 19 inches in organic gel. And if you hit a normal size person, I should say a normal size American nowadays, I doubt that would pass through them. Now with our 22 LR, what we have here is a penetration of only about 8.5 inches almost. So yeah, that's a little bit subpar. You know, with my camera lens, I do get some horizontal distortion, so it often looks like I'm putting my finger much further back than what the bullet is, especially when the bullets are in this far back side of the gel. But that's exactly where they're at on a straightforward look, is that they are at about 8.5 inches. So subpar, but if we put on our denim and our MDF, that might change things up and make this look a little different. So let's do that. All right, let's do the same thing. Start with our 38 Special. Go through 4 layers of denim, then 3 inches of clear ballistics, 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. See how this looks. 38 Special, standard pressure. All right, so we'll try to go above that there with our 22 long rifle and see what this gives us. Let's go take a look. All right, so that changed things a little bit for the better with both of these. You know, sometimes it goes one way or the other. Sometimes the denim and MDF make the performance worse, but sometimes it makes it better. And what I'm seeing when I go through this MDF, let's take a look at these holes first here. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. You know, we're not really seeing any expansion in that first 3 inches with either of those. So what that would indicate here is that with our 22 long rifle, a lot of bulk ammo or other cheap ammo, it has a very soft lead alloy, almost pure lead, so it mushrooms and deforms instantly. And a lot of times what will happen is if you put the MDF, let's say I had that 8.5 inches, a lot of times it'll go the other way, the MDF and the denim. Now instead of 8.5, you're like 4 inches. But with the Winchester ammo, it looks like their alloy's a little bit harder. Therefore, we got nearly ideal, not ideal, but nearly adequate of about 11.25 inches. It does look like deformation on that bullet. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's not too bad. That's actually an improvement, and I trust my real world results better than I trust plain gel shots, because this is going to tell you more of that real bullet performance. And also with the 38 Special, what it's going to tell you is that that performed quite well. We got a lot more damage. It started to expand. It looks like as soon as it hit that MDF, that aided in that expansion a little bit, and it slowly expanded, went to a very ideal depth of 16 inches. So overall, what I'm going to say here is that when we take these as real world numbers here, real world results, our 38 Special across the board, it seems like it would be very effective. It would be a very effective self-defense round. And our 22, better than some, I'm going to say, even though it's bulk ammo, because that's not bad what we're seeing there. Now let's hit our steel. Let's see what kind of practical shootability I can get with these. All right, so here's what we got in our plain gel, our 38 Special. It just, you know, it looks like it kept going forward and didn't look like it really tumbled or anything, other than maybe it was backwards at the end, like it reversed at the end of its travel. But, you know, we got good performance, even though we didn't get what I would say is any deformation, really. It still has that semi-wide cutter edge. It did pretty well. Now, here's a surprise. This is plain gel shot with our 22. It mushroomed every bit as big as that 38 special bullet there. So that's pretty good. But that did limit the penetration quite a bit. Now, what really surprised me was to look at our MDF here, and this sometimes is typical where we have something that's kind of a soft hollow point. The MDF for rib simulation kind of aids in its deformation or expansion, and that would probably be what would happen if you pulled one of these out of somebody's body. It would probably look like that going through a chest shot, kind of mangled, expanded like that. Now, this is very surprising here. You know, we got what I would consider typical handgun performance where, you know, we got expansion still with a hollow point, and it just kind of lowered that expansion enough to allow for more penetration. That's typical handgun ballistics 101. So I'm going to say Winchester Super X as a handgun round really is a scaled down centerfire round. It's pretty good performance. I'm very surprised with that. So that's what you get with those. All right, so I'm going to be 10 yards from the muzzle of my gun, or a little bit more than that. And I'm going to shoot the steel, see what kind of practical shootability I can get with these. So let's do our 38 special, see what I can do with these. All right, so I went for a headshot, I missed it, but overall, not bad where they're hitting pretty much center. So 22 long rifle, let's see how I can do with these. I'm out of ammo already. Didn't realize I put that many downrange. So, yeah, it shoots pretty good overall. So, it's kind of hard to argue with that shootability. I've missed a few headshots, but you know, you're not going to need more than one or two, depending on how they hit. So, this does beg the question, you know, will these shoot good at distance? Because I was seeing that kind of on paper. It looked like they were very accurate and consistent. So, I do want to back up, see how they shoot on steel from some distance. All right, 75 yards from the target. I haven't been shooting from this distance for quite some time just because the comments get really annoying, or people say that all my misses are in the same spot to the left. You actually look at the downrange camera versus this camera. It compresses everything on that hill, from the top of that hill down to the bottom of the target, even though it's a 40-foot stretch. It'll compress it down to look like it's like a 10-foot stretch of land. So what'll happen is I'll have impacts that are 12 feet above the target, 2 feet below the target. You know, a lot of them are a little bit to the right, but it'll take those misses that are 6-8 feet apart and it'll compress it down into it looking like it's hitting in the same area. So people will just nonstop comment, you just need to aim over. You're dead on, buddy. You just got to go over. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I have to explain it, waste my time. And you know, I got this fish bowl type lens, fisheye lens. So look at my hand when I start going up here. You can see the size of my hand here. Is that the size of my hand? No, and that's the same thing with, hey, you're leaning back, buddy, because, you know, I'm standing straight up and down. I go to the edge, and what's the edge do even though I keep my hand the same? It leans it. So, that wouldn't make much sense to shoot like this anyway. Anyways, just to get that out of the way there, because I deal with trolls all the time. Well, let's shoot at the steel with this 38 special. See if I can make any hits. This gun does shoot a little bit to the left for me. And the bullets were jumping up a little bit high from recoil, so maybe I'll just aim kind of lowish, slightly right on the target. Hey, that worked. Ah. All right, so maybe that didn't work because I miss, and then I just aimed center mass. And then I hit that last one. So probably what happened was it was shooting dead on. I kind of pulled the gun, jerked the trigger, and made it hit center. but the real question is, how will these 22s shoot? They have very consistent velocity and accuracy. That should account for something at distance. So let me see if I can hit with these. Actually hit pretty fast. Interesting, because I'm not changing my point of hold there. All right, so they must have been hitting low because I aimed at the headshots for a head area headshot at the last shots there. And they're probably hitting center mass. I can't tell from here, so it's almost like they changed. That's got to be me, though. That doesn't make any sense that would do that like that. But yeah, they seem pretty accurate as long as I'm holding on the target right. So looking at cheap ammo for self-defense, you know, a lot of people have their opinions on whether cheap ammo is good, or you have different definitions of what cheap means. But what I'm looking here is I'm looking at stuff that's, you know, just run of the mill. You can get in a higher quantity. It's not particularly powerful. It's nothing special about it. And when we take ammo like that and we test it, you know, sometimes it does pretty good. I'm going to say here, across the board, our 38 Special is a win-win, because everything I saw there was pretty good. Even if you could say, well, the plain gel shot didn't get expansion, we also have to realize that's a semi-wad cutter hollow point. So that does a lot of damage like a wad cutter, even when it doesn't expand. And they have a pretty high track record in law enforcement of having something like, I don't know, 78% one-shot stop in a 2-inch barrel. That's with the plus P. That's going to be about equivalent to a standard pressure in a 3-inch. So you're up there. You know, you probably got 3/4 of a chance that your attacker is going to stop and fall to the ground with 38 Special under normal circumstances. Now, obviously, you get meth involved and all that. That's not normal, but overall, it's a pretty good choice. Now, with our 22 long rifle, what I'm seeing here is decent. I was pleasantly surprised to see that it looks like that lead alloy that they're using in that is a little bit harder than others. So, you know, when we hit that little bit of hard bone simulation there, that did really well, because most of your cheap box stuff like this, it'll just flatten out and mangle into just this chunk of lead that's useless. This thing, it just, you know, it stayed together enough to penetrate going through that. It stayed straight. We can see it didn't tumble. And that's the hallmark of a good round in a handgun. You know, a lot of times you'll get, you know, 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum. You'll shoot it in a handgun and you do the ballistic test, and all the holes going through the MDF are crooked, sideways, keyholing. And that tells you that bullet's not stabilizing. What I'm seeing here is it's going straight. So I would definitely recommend this stuff. I had one malfunction with it, but the thing I like to say about 22 malfunctions is they're pretty easy to clear. And another thing is a lot of people talk about duds. Well, a revolver is better for 22 long rifle because of duds. But I have a different look on that, because when you're talking duds, and we're talking 22s that have very light slides, duds are not really malfunctions. They're a stoppage, but you're not going to have a case that's straight up vertical, sticking up and down, and you can't clear the thing. It's just it failed to fire. So if you get a dud, boom, that's gonna kick it out and kick the next one in perfectly straight. So to me, dud round, rimfire ammunition reliability issues isn't as big a deal as some people make it out to be. So that's what you get today. I think overall this ammo did pretty good. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.